You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, our family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rick Robinson. I'm one half of the crew on the Jen and Rick Show. We're coming to you live right now from KLRNradio.com, where liberty and reason still reign. Just a few minutes past the hour of 10 if you're on the East Coast, 9 if you're not, and, well, we don't really talk about you left coast folks, but it's a little after 7 where you are. I hope everybody's having a great Friday evening, and tomorrow is Friday. Thank you, God. It seems like a really, really long week when you flip your schedule around to go play in a radio station. I'm just saying. Wow.
It seems like a long week when I change time zones.
Yeah, this is true. So did you sneak me any edibles that you're going to mail me? No, I'm just playing.
It was funny when we were driving to the airport today. My cousin was like, "Oh, darn it. It's 5:30. The dispensaries don't open till 9. But, yeah, we had to leave early this morning as the first snow fell. There's about an inch already down and big fat snowflakes coming down on the mountains, and it was gorgeous. For anybody that doesn't know, I've been in Colorado. My aunt and uncle have a place up there, and I've been helping them on their property this week. So I've been getting in some of that good manual labor and in the fresh, clean mountain air with gorgeous views, and I've pretty much the only thing I've posted on my Twitter this week has been beautiful majestic mountain views, and I've let everybody else sit around and punch each other.
And then you come home to fellow host being suspended and fellow writers being suspended. Yay, fun times.
Yeah, this is really getting irritating.
Twitter has lost their collective-ish. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, and I think that there is a group of people, and probably various groups of people, that I don't even know are necessarily really politically aligned in any way other than kind of burn it down types. They ascribe to this thing called black pilling, which that's kind of what that is. And they mass report people, and they have it down to a science, I feel like, because it's certain people in certain groups, when they decide to target them, they are gone. They're very effective. So I'm not happy about this at all. I'm not, these people that it's happening with are our friends. And like you said, our co-hosts, our coworkers, our people that we're building brands with and that have a lot of good things to say and are positive in the conservative media force. And it's a real dang shame, actually, because it's very hard to come back from an account nuke. And they shouldn't, and there's not, I understand when people actually commit, violations of the terms of service, but the things that are happening with some of these people, there's nothing like that. And I don't know that it's actually like, oh, anti-conservative, Twitter just doesn't, I think Twitter is actually incompetent at handling reports. I think that they are so in over their head when it comes to these bots and people that have learned how to spam report. that they are incapable, they're inadequate to be able to handle the influx. And so therefore, good people, good accounts, and people that don't have the means to fight, don't know how to fight, they just have to let it go. And a lot of them never come back. And that is just a crying shame for conservatism, I think.
It astounds me how easy it is to get people suspended.
It really does. And if anybody doesn't know by now, the best way, the easiest way to get yourself suspended is to do so as, cussing at a blue check, at a verified user. But these people where this has happened with recently, the ones that you and I are close with, and we've got another good friend who's been fighting it, and he was on Politabunny's show recently, and those people, this is not about violating various terms of service. It's not about going after a verified user. They haven't been targeting, engaging in targeted harassment. They haven't been impersonating someone. In fact, one of these people that is on lockdown was impersonated herself, and for pointing it out was locked. So this is, I don't know if there's anything that we can do. I just think that Twitter has to keep trying to better their ability to respond to these things, and we've got to figure out a way to curb those bots, because these spam bots is how they are able to mass report, and I don't know what if anything can be done about that, unfortunately.
Oh. I just really don't understand what's going on. Everything is nuts. Everything's racist now. Everything's all about just craziness, and I remember when things like Facebook and Twitter used to be fun, and it used to be where you'd find people that you would agree with, and you could even if you disagreed, you could disagree and still have a conversation. Now you can't even do that. We have people that I consider friends that can't even be around each other anymore because of stupid crap. And I'm just like, I don't understand. I'm shaking my fist at 2016 still to this day, because
I know
I blame 2016. It's all 2016's fault. Damn it.
Well, it at the very least, I don't know if it's all its fault, but it certainly brought fissures to the surface. Right? Like it absolutely brought things up that had not been confronted before. It brought up divisions that we had not really recognized were there, I think. We started getting very nitty-gritty on certain details of policy and of actual principles and beliefs. And when it came down to it, we weren't as cohesive on the right as I think we once thought. Oh, we believe in this and we believe in that, and we all kind of have this common goal. But, well, really, there's a lot of fracture there. And it does suck, because like you said, we've got friends that it's not even about, they're not even not able to be in the same room because of their left and right leaning. They can't be in the same room. They're both right leaning and agree on 90% of things, but there's a 10% there that has become so divisive, and we've become so just like volatile and so enraged by certain things that it has it's just really kind of broken down a lot of people.
And that's the thing that nobody's really talking about, because right now, if you pull up conservative media and you look at all the things that they're talking about, they're reveling in how fractured the left is while ignoring the fact of how fractured the right is. We had the same people that for 7 years voted to repeal the Abominable Care Act, as I like to call it, 66 times. And yet, now that they have a Republican president in the White House, not only did they not submit the same bill that they passed as, I guess, some sort of lip service 66 times, they can't even decide on what they're going to do, because people like John McCain are holding everything up because of procedural issues. Because as far as he's concerned, they need to get back to the 60-vote threshold to do something like this, and he won't be on board with anything that doesn't do that, even though he knows there's no way they're going to be able to get 60 votes. Now, say what you want about this legislation. I don't like it either, but what I want to, at this point, I would prefer to start seeing things incrementally rolled back than nothing at all, because everybody's going for the touchdown or the home run, and they're not paying attention to the fact that we're not fixing anything. Even if we get, just to use another football analogy, even if we get a first down, at least it's something. Let's start moving the ball the other direction. Let's do something instead of sitting here just saying, well, this isn't good enough. This isn't good enough legislation. All right, so maybe it's not great legislation, but you told the American people you were going to do this. So can we do something? Anything? Can we, maybe do the across state lines thing that you guys have talked about for the last 8 years? Give us something. You guys could do these as little pieces of legislation. One bill, insurance available across state lines. Another bill, pricing available when you go to the doctor. Who goes to a restaurant, sits down, orders a 4-course meal, and then gets surprised by the check? That makes no sense.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty dang good analogy. I was going to say you're using a few football analogies, and that's all right with me. And so I apologize if a couple of times I get a little bit distracted tonight, but my horns are playing right now. So I've got the TV on mute, and I'm kind of watching as we go. We're in the third quarter. We're winning, so that's good. But just a little FYI, if I kind of go, I might be watching a throwdown field. Just saying.
So in other words, if she just suddenly starts screaming, it's because there was probably a touchdown.
No, I probably won't scream if there's a touchdown, but I might scream if there's like a sack or a fumble or an interception, like just happened. Of course, my big fat mouth. Wow.
Yeah, see?
As I said interception, Iowa State intercepted the ball. Son of a gun.
See?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, fun times. So, I guess on a positive note, Steve Scalise is back in D.C. Yay!
Oh, really?
Yes, he actually made it back in today.
I heard the update. Well, that's wonderful. That is a positive note.
Yeah, of all the crappy news in the world right now, at least one good thing has happened. I'm also really happy to find out that the NBA actually has a rule in their handbook that players can't kneel. Because I have to tell you, if the Thunder kneel, I'm probably going to go postal.
Yeah, the thing is that I don't think anybody has ever said that, for all of the blustering about this and people getting really upset when anyone suggests that the NFL come down on these players, there is nothing that says an organization that employs, people like this, that they can't make rules like that. Just like you have a dress code and you have a code of ethics and you have a behavioral code, you could have this in your code like the NBA does. And so I really didn't understand all the freaking out when that was suggested. Like, oh my gosh, how dare you? Because by the way, womp womp, not a First Amendment rights issue. It's your employer, not the government. But, and they can dictate certain things like that as long as it's not discriminating directly. So that was always something that could be done. Now, we knew they weren't going to do it, but there are other sports organizations, and they're even talking about some of the lower levels of writing stuff into in other sports, writing it into farm teams and MLB, and doing some things like that to go ahead and just take out the controversy. Because here's the problem: is they're seeing the pushback and they're seeing and the drama of it. That's not what this game's about. That's not what the other games are about. You don't kick back with a beer and some barbecue on Sunday in order to be lectured politically. You use that time to come together with family and friends and enjoy a sport that you love that precisely avoids those things so that you can enjoy it and forget about all the nastiness we hear all the time and just have a carefree, other than having a heart attack if your team's not playing well, but just to have a carefree, afternoon watching one of America's greatest games. And that's where it's really getting. Even people that were not strongly aligned one way or another are now becoming so because they are just sick to death of it. They're being beat over the head with it and they're sick of it.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing with it. Football used to be a prime example of what this country once was. a huge melting pot where everybody from different backgrounds, different neighborhoods, different whatever, came together for the love of a game, whether you were the ones playing on the field or whether you were the ones watching. It was an area where everybody put everything aside, even if it was just for a few hours, and they went and they had a good time and they enjoyed the game, whether you were the one on the field or the one in the stands. Now we can't do that at all. Why does everything... I mean, this is going to sound really weird from a guy who's trying to make his living discussing politics on a radio show. But why does everything in America have to be about politics right now? Everything has to be about politics right now. Now I've seen things going to the opposite extreme, which I don't agree with, where now schools are trying to make it mandatory for kids that partake in athletic events to have to stand for the national anthem, etc. To me, that's taking things a little too far, because that is actually kind of bordering on First Amendment issues, because we're not talking about employers at that point. That's the thing that nobody's really talked about with all of this, and you just touched on it. Up until now, we haven't really been dealing with a First Amendment issue. You can call it that all you want, but that's not what it is. This is, do the people that you work for, that are the ones paying your paycheck, want you to make a spectacle of yourself in front of all the people that are paying their paychecks so they can pay your paychecks? And that's where this is starting to be a problem. Now, no matter what anybody wants to say about it, you can't tell me that the NFL, or as I've taken to calling them now because of my friend Todd Tucker, the National Felons League, you can't tell me they're not in trouble, because StubHub is actually offering discount tickets, which I have never seen happen before. Never.
Well, and they've said that that DirecTV has had an insane amount of calls, more than they've ever had before, to cancel their NFL packages. And that's the only way that some of this is going to stop. And I still don't know if it will, because they've become so engaged in the drama and in the political aspect of it. But the best way that people can do anything is to, hit them where it hurts, and that's in their pocketbook. But even then, I'm not quite sure that that's going to make the difference at this point. The social justice warriors reign supreme, and they have taken hold of not only now the media, but they have definitely taken hold of the sports media as well, and at least on the national scale, national television scale. So I feel like we're just getting started with all of this kind of stuff, and it's going to turn a lot of people off, and that's too bad, because a lot of kids growing up in America really, that's such a neat thing to look up to, even if you'll never be a player like that, to emulate some of that. You play and you pretend you're a certain player in the backyard game with your family. It's a bonding time for families, especially for fathers and sons, and some mothers and sons. There are traditions and rituals and deep family ties to some of these teams and organizations, and it's just sad to see all of that go to the wayside over a guy who couldn't make it, who really wasn't good enough to be a first string quarterback, who wore socks that depicted cops as pigs, and decided that the flag represented the oppression of all Black people in America. And in solidarity, and because our president can't keep his mouth shut and decides to step his foot in it, then you've got the entire, league basically linking arms and acting like this is some sort of noble protest that has nothing to do with what he originally intended. What Kaepernick originally intended to protest is not even close to what all of these people are protesting anymore. Now it's basically an anti-protest, and it's a unity and solidarity thing with each other, and that's all fine and good, but that has nothing to do with the original protest. And if you don't agree with what Kaepernick's message was, then don't kneel. And quit taking it away from Americans and our children, because it's really hurting such a special thing. I feel like, at least in my neck of the woods, such a special thing that families really come together over. So that just, to me.
Well, I mean, the problem is, if you really look at the numbers, and I'm not talking about the numbers for the NFL, I'm talking about the numbers going all the way down to Pee Wee League. Football's on the way out anyway. I actually was talking to a friend of mine who coaches, and he was telling me, because he's in another state, but he was telling me that in his area 3 years ago, they had enough kids signing up that by the time they had the 3rd to 5th grade folks signed up, they had enough people for like 20 teams. There were enough kids for 10 teams in each side. They actually kind of split it up and made their own little league out of it because of the number of kids they had signing up. This year, 3 years later, they had enough kids for 4 teams. They've actually had to join other leagues to be able to keep the kids to be able to play because there weren't enough kids to keep the whole thing going. And I mean, that's part of the problem is society has shifted because, you know, it's not okay to even run the risk of possibly getting hurt anymore. Your children have to come out of the womb in bubble wrap if they survive the trip at all.
Well, I do think that one thing's that's gonna happen, and I know this from a personal experience, is that you know, especially in high school and college, what's happening, and what has already been happening, by the way, in high school, this has been a thing for a very long time. A lot of these kids haven't grown up playing football. They decide to sign up for football and go out for tryouts freshman or sophomore year. That doesn't mean they're always the star player, but I'm just saying this is not always a sport where you have to play it your entire life in order to be able to be any good or have a shot at anything. And one thing that a high school coach that gets highly recruited by some of the major universities in the Big 12 and SEC said is that, you know, there no longer really needs to be that because we look for athletes that we can then mold. And actually, it's even better because then we can turn them into a superstar in college without them having all the bad habits and having all the series of concussions and other injuries that would have plagued someone who played their entire life. And so I think the college sport is going to be lasting, which means the high school sport will be somewhat lasting, but it's going to be less of the whole peewee thing and going up and up and up with that. And it's going to be more of the honing athletes, you know, training them and then plugging them in skilled positions as needed when they get to a higher level. And now you and I could just host a sports show because I'm pretty sure you and I could both talk about this kind of thing all day.
Probably, especially since my youngest is growing up playing football. So
I obviously have no knowledge and no passion about football at all. So
no. Speaking of which, it's about time for our annual wager again. We're gonna do.
I know.
We're gonna do the usual.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, in case you are tuning in, there's one time a year we become a show divided because she's a Texas Longhorns fan and I'm a Sooner fan. So, last year we had this bet that anytime we came into one of the groups that we hang out in together, the representative of the losing team had to use the other's slogan as they were coming into the room. I think it lasted maybe 3 days before both of us forgot, but it was still fun.
Yeah, it's those first couple of days right after where it really stings, and that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's when we did it. So, you know.
Although Baker Mayfield's getting some flack because he keeps talking crap, which is really funny. He's really funny though, because the people that are mad at him about talking crap are the same ones that like President Trump for talking crap. I'm so confused.
That is kind of true.
He shouldn't do that.
See, here's my thing. I don't really have a problem with these players like talking a little smack and having these little like social media wars a little bit. I think it's kind of fun and you know, as long as they're keeping it clean and cool and whatever, I don't have any problem with that. I think the place where it turns into a problem is if you can't turn that off on the field. And so if on the field, and I'm not talking about your regular huddle, you know, crap, but if it goes above and beyond, which Baker's not the only one guilty of this, there are lots of people that have kind of gotten this way now, where that smack talk turns into more of unsportsmanlike and disrespect, like on the field in front of officials, you know, opposing team, all of that kind of thing, then that's where you can legit have a gripe. But I think all of this other stuff, I mean, let the boys be boys. Like, let them be 20-year-olds who are, by the way, like at the top of their game in the most lucrative college sport and most eyeballs on it college sport. And let them have fun. I mean, let them enjoy their time while they're there and, you know, get a little cocky and then see if they get smacked on their butt. That kind of makes it more fun when they do.
You know what? The funniest thing for me, the couple weeks ago when everybody was having the brouhaha because he took the flag all the way around the stadium and then planted it right in the middle of the O in Ohio State, was they actually reprogrammed Siri for like a week. If you asked Siri who owned Ohio Stadium, she'd answer Baker Mayfield.
See, that kind of stuff is so funny. I think that's fun. Whatever. And I mean, this is a kid that I'm going to hope, has the worst game of his life here in a couple weeks, but I can appreciate it for now.
It's never gonna happen.
Never know.
Yeah, I know.
That's the problem with that game. You never freaking know.
Yeah, it's like Bedlam. No matter how much you prep for it, no matter how much you think you've got it, it's like a completely different game. Which it's weird this year because Bedlam's not our last game of the season, so I'm kind of weirded out by that.
Oh, that is weird. Who do y'all play last?
I don't have the schedule pulled up, but it kind of weirded me out because Bedlam's like next to last or 2 games before, and I'm like that.
Yeah, so it must be like a TCU or something like that.
Doesn't make any sense because it's always our last game because the Big 12 hasn't had a championship game in a while, so it's always kind of usually whoever winds up winning that game lately has been the one to claim the Big 12 title. So now it's all going to be weird. And I'm just like, I'm so confused. But I stay that way lately, so I guess it doesn't matter. You know what? We're at the bottom of the hour, so we got to pay some bills. Yay. We'll be right back.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
And we're back. And to keep the conversation going, I figure we might as well move on to something else negative. Healthcare reform is now DOA for the 20 millionth time in 2017. No, what are we on, like 4th, 5th, 20th time now?
Yeah, pretty much.
And now we're moving on to tax reform, and everybody's angry about the tax reform because it's gonna raise taxes on the lowest bracket by 2 percentage points. Never mind the fact that one of the reasons they raised that bracket was to make up for the fact that if you're single, you get your first $12,000 a year income tax free, and if you're married, you get like 24. I don't know about you guys, but where I live, 24 is about half of what my wife and I make together. That's a pretty good chunk of tax-free income. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, and honestly, I have to read up on this a little bit more. Everybody's been, I've seen a few of the little drive-by, media snippets or whatever, but I haven't had a chance to really look over it all. All I know is just like anything else, everyone's hair is on fire.
What I don't understand is how it is that the president can't do anything right. I mean, I get it. He's not the best orator. He doesn't get his point across very well. He yells like a New Yorker. But at the end of the day, he's still the president. And yet, nobody's working with him. I mean, the Democrats work with him long enough to be able to take the victory lap on the news and say, oh, look, we got the president to give us something that we wanted. And then Nancy Pelosi starts being called the great puppet master, which I don't know if you ever saw that, but that was really weird. It was like that the day that Trump crossed the aisle and brought them into the White House, they started yelling about all these deals that he was making with him. Sunday shows, dude, everybody was like, Nancy Pelosi's the puppet master. She's pulling Donald Trump's strings. And I'm like, y'all have lost your minds. She couldn't even find the strings if she knew how to pull them.
Well, I mean, it's hard to do anything from a coffin.
This is true.
I'm just saying. Okay, I feel like officially me doing the show right now is bad luck. We were playing so well before I got on air, and then now we are not. So I'm going to go ahead and blame the Sooner fan for that. You're giving me bad mojo.
Baby. Sooner magic, baby. It is what it is. Deal with it.
You're giving me bad mojo. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Well, hey, did you hear the latest about Gorsuch?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, so people have decided that he should be attacked now because he's going to speak at the Federalist Society. Anybody ever heard of the Federalist Society? Yeah, I mean, everybody should, because pretty much every Supreme Court justice of the last 25 years has spoken at the Federalist Society. Not just conservatives, all of them. Sotomayor, nominated in 2009, she addressed the Federalist Society that year. Elena Kagan, she also addressed the year that she was nominated. Stephen Breyer, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Anthony Kennedy, all of them have addressed Federalist Society meetings or some gatherings, along with all of the conservative, more conservative justices on the court. But this time it's some sort of scandal. That Gorsuch is going to go speak at the Federalist Society is obviously something, corrupt going on here, and it's, in their pockets, and all of this, hoopla about him speaking at a very typical thing that all justices do.
I only have one question. Was Ruth Bader Ginsburg awake when she spoke?
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Just asking.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many years it's been since she did. But, they're also mad because the society is having one of its meetings at Trump's D.C. hotel. So obviously that means that they're doing it for a reason, and he's, part of this, and everything is all interwoven, and they're all just corrupt. And Has nothing to do with what the Federalist Society is and how they always invite Supreme Court justices, among other justices and legal minds, to come and speak at various meetings and gatherings that they have. But this time it's nefarious, of course.
Is it time for our unofficial theme song? Everything is awful.
Exactly. Exactly.
Speaking of everything is awful, Hugh Hefner's dead. Boo.
Yes, he did die. I heard this, and I thought it was interesting that so many people were like, oh my gosh, what? Well, they better find out what killed him. I'm like, he's 91 years old, people. I don't know what y'all thought. I mean, I know people kind of thought he was ageless, but he was 91 years old.
Yeah.
He lived a life, man. He lived a life.
A crazy life. I mean, at one point, I mean, he was married twice. After the last marriage went south, he started dating up to 7 women at a time, and then winnowed it down to 3. 3, all at the same time.
Now, I have a question for you. Can you imagine having to juggle, keep happy, accommodate the honey-do list and all of that kind of stuff of 3 women?
I can't even keep one happy. What are you talking?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, doesn't this seem like, wow, maybe he deserves some sort of award for that, because that is quite the feat, sir. Of course, the money helps.
Yeah, I'm sure it had a lot more to do with the money than anything else. But yeah, end of an era. What I think is funny is somebody like that dies and basically gets heralded because, he's the guy that helped foster in the sexual revolution and all these things. And, heroes die every day and they're villains. I'm really confused.
Well, the other thing that I think for me is somewhat hypocritical is that some of the same people, like you said, that are kind of heralding him for his, progressivism are the same people that think looking at someone is stare rape, and that think that men catcalling at someone, from 5 floors up, catcalling at a woman down on the street should be legally prosecuted. But here is a guy who absolutely profited off, the, objectifying women, and they're, kneeling down and praising him. So it's kind of a weird thing to me, oh, we're more than our looks, and oh, we're this and this and that. And then there are a lot of people that for some reason see what he did as being like freeing. It's liberating, and it was progressive and all of this. And, come on, let's really call it what it was. It was pornography for men. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it like all of these women, that it was just all this like independent, strong woman thing, and dress it up like that in order to appease certain groups of people. I mean, I don't personally have all that much
powerful cable substitute out there. PlayStation View says.
Reading something. Shut up. Dang it, I hate it when they do that. I'm reading an article and something starts playing and I'm like, really?
But I don't personally have all that much of a problem. Grown adults can do and condone whatever they wish to, and they can look at whatever they want, and I don't really care. And we just got an interception on our side this time. Thank you. All right. But let's not sugarcoat what this was and try to now pretend like somehow he was some beacon of liberty or something.
Yeah, I mean, and that, I guess that was part of it for me, is the same people that are talking about how women shouldn't be objectified are now saddened because someone who made a fortune basically, I mean, and I'm not even going to say that he objectified women, but I've heard them say it before.
Well, but he capitalized on it.
Yeah.
So he may not have objectified them himself, but he made his business in a way in which men did pay to objectify these women. He may have treated them just fine and dandy, but at least 3 may have all of the other people involved in his operation. But the fact of the matter is that the guy that they don't want to think about, the fat slob that got off at the factory with the scruff and the drinking problem, picked up that magazine to go have some fun after work with himself. So let's not pretend like that's not what the majority of the readership was.
That was a visual I didn't need. Ew, I need a drink now.
Well, some people need to hear it to realize that, it's not just about, oh, these women, they wanted to pose and it was beautiful and he was so sweet to them and he had this mansion and they did this and they did that and he was revolutionary in the media for blah, 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 whatever. Think about what the average person who was really, taking advantage of who he was making his money off of, how he got his fortune. That's who it was.
So there's some interesting news coming out about the Russia thing, not to bring it up again, but it's come to find out that they're starting to piece together a few things with, because everybody talks about the Russian troll farms. They're starting to piece together some things that back in 2016 and early 2017, the Russians really weren't doing too much to help the Trump campaign. They were not only doing things to help the Clinton campaign, they were actually actively farming on both sides of an argument to further divide the country. As an example, fake Black Lives activist accounts linked to Russian government through Facebook. They were buying Facebook ad time as Black Lives Matter activists to further divide an argument. At the same time, they were buying ad time for All Lives Matter to further divide an argument. They're doing the same thing now with the take a knee, take a stand thing. They have trolls on both sides of the argument, further trying to divide the country. The reason I bring this up is because let's not forget that in 2012, Barack Obama said Russia, or the 20th century called and they want their foreign policy back, when Mitt Romney tried to point out exactly how dangerous Russia still was.
Yeah, wow. So I hadn't heard this, but actually this is much smarter than trying to buy off an election or trying to hack an election. It's much smarter to break the people apart, right? I mean, that's how that's how nations fall.
It's straight out,
it's
of
civil
the
unrest.
Playbook. I mean, it's straight out of the Soros playbook. They're just doing it with social media instead of doing it the way he used to do it. And I wouldn't be surprised.
And I don't know how you stop it,
No, I mean, you can't. I mean, and that's just like right now, with them actively campaigning on both sides of it, at this point, you don't know, whichever side you're on, you don't know if the person that I retweeted this person because I think what they said is right. You could be retweeting a Russian troll and you may not even ever know. And it's just scary to think about because it's something that I brought up last night. There is a socialist communist undercurrent running rampant in this country that wants to destroy our economy. What better way to do that than to start attacking something as huge as the NFL and to pick it apart? But how do you stop it at this point? Because it's already started. The people are offended, the people are outraged, and the players are not doing anything to stop it on their own because they think what they're doing is the right thing instead of realizing on some level we've been played.
Oh, we've absolutely been played. But you know what? Here's what I kind of find funny is that for the first time, we've been played by the left for so long that I think the right, we've kind of gotten used to it. And it's like, oh, well, there they go again. Oh, yep, that was leftist agitators. Oh, there's this or there's that. So we're used to it. This is the first time that the left has been attacked on this, I feel like, in a really long time in such an organized and direct effort. So they are really freaking out, right? Because this is like, whoa, wait a second. What do you mean you're targeting it? How can you undermined us? You did this, you did that, you did it. No. And so they're stomping around like toddlers because they can't imagine someone using what they've done for years to other people being turned on them.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you a little bit directly from the article, which I kind of feel bad for CNN because they've been the ones that have been breaking a lot of these stories lately after they kept saying there was nothing here, or if there was anything, it was all Trump's fault. A social media campaign calling itself Blacktivist and linked to the Russian government used both Facebook and Twitter in an apparent attempt to amplify racial tensions during the U.S. presidential election. Two sources with knowledge of the matter told CNN the Twitter account has been handed over to Congress. The Facebook account is expected to be handed over in the coming days. Both Blacktivist accounts, each of which use the handle Blacktivist, regularly shared content intended to stoke outrage. Black people should wake up as soon as possible, one post on the Twitter account read. Black families are divided and destroyed by mass incarceration and death of black men, another read. These accounts also post the videos of police violence against African Americans. The Blacktivist accounts provide further evidence that Russian-linked social media accounts saw racial tensions as something to be exploited in order to achieve the broader Russian goal of dividing Americans and creating chaos in U.S. politics during a campaign in which race repeatedly became an issue. Can we just stop with the stupidity and all come back together and realize that we've been played by a foreign government at this point?
Yep.
Can we just stop?
And by the way, as much as they want to scream about it, I have always believed that there was some sort of Russian involvement, but I didn't think it was in the way they thought. I thought it was more in the ways like this. I didn't know it was going to be about like some of the topics that you just said, but I thought it was going to be more like this. I've always believed, and those are the types of things that we can't prosecute. It's not illegal. They're doing stuff that is completely within the realm of legality, and or mostly at least, and that's the type of thing that is going to create more divisiveness and is going to, kind of uproot some of our, it's going to create political unrest and uproot some of our long laid, kind of foundations on the right and the left. And but these are, like I said, these are not anything that a Senate investigation cannot do anything about social media trolls and bots. I'm sorry. They just are not going to be able to say, well, now that's illegal. You're going to come into a whole host of other problems if you do that.
Yeah, and the worst part is, I actually found this while I was looking for the other article, because I heard James Langford this morning on the drive-in, and he was actually talking to a local host here about the fact that they have actually uncovered Russian trolls being involved in the most recent stuff too. So this isn't stuff that just happened in the 2016 election. They are still actively doing everything they can to keep us as divided as possible, and we're playing right into it. But at this point, I don't know how to stop it, because they have found a nerve that has been exposed, and I don't know how to fix it at this point. Because, I mean, you try, even with somebody like CNN coming out and saying this, somebody's going to yell fake news, and everybody's going to go back to doing what they were doing before.
Yeah, I mean, there's no going back. This is the new reality. And I don't really know what we do about that, honestly.
I hate this place. Nothing works here. The medications don't work. I've been here for 7 years.
That's how I feel about the new reality. I mean, it's just, it's disheartening to realize that we've been being played by an outside government. What's worse about it is they're doing to us what we've done to so many other countries, and we thought it was fine.
Well, we've done more. We've been more overt, more direct in involving ourselves in other countries' elections, and been like, well, but no, that's fine because it's us, and they were fine because it was Obama. But another country just having people kind of infiltrate at a grassroots level, and they're wanting it to be some mass government conspiracy that should impeach our president. And that's just not going to happen.
Oh, well, no, don't speak too soon about that, because there's a certain someone who's actually floating the idea of impeaching him yet again. I was actually going to bring that up if I could find it.
Is it Crazy Louise?
No, actually, oh no, I think somebody that else I know might have been suspended. I was actually going to pull it from a link that they showed me. Hang on. I have their last name, so I should be able to figure out who he was talking about Even though
well, either way, I'm not saying that he may not get impeached for something. I just don't think it's going to be because of Russian this or that. As far as what really affected the election, maybe some Russian ties elsewhere that they figured out, really went down and influenced things. But as far as just generally the Russian influence on the election, I think that that's going to be, way too hard to nail him down for.
Actually, it's somebody from your neck of the woods. Congressman Al Green is actually still recycling the idea. He's tried to do it multiple times since May 17th. On the floor of Congress of the United States of America, I will call for the impeachment of the president between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Central. That was his pin tweet on May 17th, and I've seen the same thing actually going through his timeline over the last couple of days again. Apparently, he's from Texas.
Well, I can't be responsible for every idiot that lives here.
But I can be responsible for the Horns getting an interception because I'm a Sooner fan?
Yeah, well, yes, of course. That just makes perfect sense.
Oh, nice. No, I mean, yeah, it's all
that
over.
Just makes perfect rivalry sense, all right? I'm just playing.
I'll give it to you. No, actually, he said the same thing again on the 27th, so that was just 2 days ago. Hang on, we've got a little bit of audio, I think.
To expand, is this a continuation of the call for impeachment that you made a few months earlier?
Indeed it is. I indicated a few months earlier that I thought the president should be impeached, and at that time I mentioned his firing of the FBI director that was investigating him, and then going on to national TV at prime time and indicating that he did it because of the Russia thing. I indicated that if anyone else brought the articles to the floor, I would not, or I would if only that those articles were insufficient. This is an opportunity that I will take advantage of. It's something accorded me by the Constitution of the United States of America, and next week I will bring the articles to the floor. And if I may mention this, the one...
Shut up, Al.
Okay, by the way, I really, because of the Russia thing, the Russia thing, is that the official name we're going with now? Because of the Russia thing?
Well, no, I think he was saying it that way because he's trying to imply that's how Trump said it. I fired Comey because of the Russia thing because it was bigly.
But this guy doesn't surprise me. He's from he represents South Houston. He's from New Orleans, so I think you've got about all you need to know right there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. It just seems odd because to me it seems like he's trying to get him impeached for breathing while white.
Maybe so.
All right, so believe it or not, we are officially out of time, which I know is not going to hurt your feelings because you have a football game you're trying to pay attention to anyway. But why don't you remind folks where it is that they can hang out with you when you're not on the radio hanging out with me?
Yes, come find me on Twitter at jhomestead, Facebook JR Homestead, and check out misfitspolitics.com and join us tomorrow night for Misfit Mischief so that you can actually, unlike the NFL Sunday, Thursday night, and Monday night football, you can actually escape politics for a little bit and come together with people just wanting to have a good time.
Just for that, I should invade and try to do something political. No, I'm just playing. I would not do that.
The only time we do a little political will just be something funny. It would just be like Nancy Pelosi's face when she saw this and people sending gifts or something. But typically we keep most of it pretty chill.
I just want to know, am I going to die again tomorrow night? That's the
I think I've got to, I hadn't planned on that, but now that you say it, I think I've got to figure something out so that you can die tomorrow, yes.
That one was crazy, dude.
It's been a few weeks.
I think I died like 20 times in that first one. I was like, oh my God, again?
It's been a few weeks, so I think I could find something like that. Yeah.
People tweet me enough that I show up as the first R. What the hell? All right. So anyway, we are officially out of time. We'll be up here in just a minute again on a live feed with America Off the Rails. I actually have a guest, Dale Bellis, the executive director of Liberty HealthShare. In times like this, you need an alternative because the government can't seem to get out of its own way to do something about the Affordable Care Act. So stay tuned if you want to find out about a viable alternative. And of course, if you want to follow along with me, you always can on Twitter at Radio Host Rick, or you can shoot me an email at rick@klrnradio.com. And on that note, folks, we are out. We will be back next Thursday. Actually, I have just been informed that it's not going to be this coming Tuesday, but apparently the following Tuesday, when Game On with JD and Stacy finally rejoins the airwaves. Unless, of course, JD moves the start date again. No, I'm not angry about that at all. Not really. We'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Remember, tomorrow's Friday. We're almost there.